How's it going, everyone? Saintsfan back again with an update on the gunrunning DLC. So unfortunately, today was not the release date, and I was kind of hoping it would be, only because next week, as many of you guys do know, E3 is happening, and I'm going to actually be at E3, so if it comes out next Tuesday, I don't know what I'm going to do for videos. I'm obviously going to be making videos once I do get back, but yeah, we're going to have to cross that bridge, I guess, once it gets here. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, the gunrunning DLC. So what I want to talk about in this video is something that's really interesting that FoxySnaps actually posted on Twitter earlier today. So for all of the 8 past DLCs, there has been one thing in common, and I feel like that one thing might give us an answer, might give us a clue as to when the gunrunning DLC will be released. So here is the picture, here is what we're looking at. Basically, for every single one of those DLCs, the QA beta updates have stopped a week prior. So if we look at all the dates, starting from December of 2015, the 8th was when the QA beta updates stopped for the folder 271594, which is the update folder, but they stopped, and then a week later we got a DLC. Going into January of 2016, the 21st was when those updates stopped, and then a week later we got the DLC on the 28th. In March, the 9th is when the update stopped, and then 6 days later we got it on the 15th. In May and June, the 31st was the last day for those updates, and then a week later on the 7th, we got the update. In July, sort of the same thing. The 6th was the last day for those updates, and then the 12th, 6 days later, we got an update. In September, the 28th was the last day, and then 6 days later, on the 4th in October, we got an update. Now, in December of 2016, this one, it was actually 8 days, but you can see the update stopped on the 5th, and then 8 days later on the 13th, the update dropped, and then the update, or the DLC, in 2017, in March, you can see a week later, because the update stopped on the 7th, and then a week later, the 14th, is when the DLC released. So, for every single one of these, apart from that December of 2016 DLC, it's been like 6 or 7 days. I mean, and that one was only 1 day extra, but after the QA beta updates stopped, the DLC was released. And what this means, so if we take a look at the Steam database, this is the history, and we've looked at this, plenty of times in the past, but you can see the first, or the most recent history, about 12 hours ago, the 271594 folder in the QA beta was changed, and something was, updated in it. And assuming they don't release any other changes or any other updates for that folder, then the 13th is looking more and more like a release date. So it'll be interesting over the next few days to keep an eye out on this history, and I'll go ahead and leave a link to this in the description if you want to keep up with it. But if this changes, then that 13th release date might not actually be the one that is the real release date. It might be later. But if it doesn't change, then a week after, from 12 hours ago, would put it at the 13th. So this is something pretty interesting, and I know at this point, just everyone sort of just wanting this DLC to come out, but we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on this for that release date. Now, a few other interesting things. So FunMW2 actually said, because someone asked the question, so if the QA beta gets updated tomorrow, could it mean the update won't be on the 13th? Perhaps they updated QA beta so early on this morning as they're rushing to make sure the 13th deadline is met. But Fun actually said no, they could update it until the last hour before release. It doesn't matter. Steam, unlike consoles, doesn't have a certification process. And what he's talking about there, so the way updates work on the consoles, at least for Sony and for Microsoft, developers have to submit the DLC, I guess, before it comes out, so it goes through their certification process, and Sony and Microsoft actually have to approve of the DLC before it does go live, where on Steam, and what we're looking at, there is no certification process. The developers can just release an update whenever. And that's the other sort of interesting part about this whole scenario. From what some of the leakers said, I believe Yan actually said this, Microsoft and Sony have actually already approved this DLC, and they approved it like a week or two ago. So if that's the case, then these updates that are being made are specifically for the PC only. And like FunMW2 said, you know, theoretically, maybe this Steam database thing doesn't really matter, because they could just keep updating this, and then literally like an hour after they update it, they could release the DLC for everyone. But that's sort of what's going on at the moment. That's what we know about the release date. You know, the last thing I will say, it is, I don't know, it's kind of telling, I guess, just that Rockstar have, put 2 Newswire posts out with a bunch of information and a bunch of screenshots, but they haven't actually given a release date. So, you know, maybe they don't even know when it's going to be coming out over there. Maybe they're like deciding when, or maybe they're still working on the DLC. I don't know. Again, this is all just sort of rumors and speculation and basing our information off of some leaks, but I think that QA beta, that folder 271594 is going to be probably the most telling, just because, I mean, just going off of the last 8 DLCs, you know, that's not a coincidence, you know, it's a common occurrence. So I would probably be expecting this gunrunning DLC to follow something similar. Anyway, that is it with the video. Thank you all for watching. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy and found it helpful. At this point, it's really just a waiting game, because we kind of know a lot about the DLC, so hopefully it comes out sooner rather than later. Anyway, that is it. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one.